Hello and welcome to the Nancovers podcast. In today's podcast, we'll be talking about some interesting things, thoughts, feelings, current events, and lots of things that I think are on my mind, and I do want to talk about them. Lots is happening in the world, so much is happening. I hope my listeners are doing okay. I hope you're not taking everything too personally, too heavily, too much on yourself. If you take everything on your head will become heavy and you might fall. I have experienced these things in my life in the past. There's so much angst about things that are happening around us in the world. Like there was this story that came out from Delhi where three UPSC aspirants, three civil service aspirants drowned to death. Like they drowned. Like it's so strange. Like I live in Delhi and sometimes I think about the hazards that are around me in a sense. Earthquake is a very real factor that I think about sometimes because we are in a seismic zone. Earthquakes are a thing, fire hazard is a thing, but never did I think, or nobody ever thought that kids will drown. And strange that just the week before this entire accident happened, me and my partner, we had gone there for an event, not to the IAS coaching centers, but there was a party that was happening close by, and we were in that entire lane where there are so many of these IAS coaching centers, and they really look like jewelry showrooms. That's what they look like. Even in the night, like they looked so opulent and so bright and well lit, and the buildings just looked so proper. One would have never thought that there could be a fatality like that could happen because of drowning. That was such a scary, sad, mind-numbing story actually when I read about it. And I guess a lot of the listeners in the Indian ecosystem would know about what I'm saying. And one of the biggest I could say my brain has been washed because of this, because I had a feeling that the Aam Aadmi Party, when it started off, it seemed like a different party. It seemed like a party that had a voice of its own. It had its own tone. It took on challenges and issues in its own way, and they would address things. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, who has had a lot of prosecution recently, and he's been in and out of jail for the longest time. However, the MCD, which is responsible for cleaning out the drains, and it should take some moral responsibility for the incident that happened. I haven't heard a word from anyone from Aam Aadmi Party talking about this entire incident. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has also been silent about the entire issue. I was on his Instagram to kind of check out what is he talking about, what is he posting about. He's still posting stories. He's in jail technically. He's posting stories about the INDIA alliance, and he's talking about some other things. But where is the moral responsibility? Who is going to take responsibility for these children? These three kids who were in their 20s who died. What about their families? What about their friends? What about their dreams? They had dreams. They wanted to become an administrator in the civil department of this country. They wanted to be an IAS. But now they're no more because water gushed in, and before they could get out of that basement, they drowned to death. And that is genuinely one of the most distressing things that I've heard in the longest time. But yeah, not hearing anything from the establishment just makes you think that are we all alone here? Like, is it really one of those things that nobody really cares? Like an incident like this happens and then we kind of get angry about it, and even I'm speaking up about it almost a week after the entire protests and everything that's happened. But where is the accountability? Where are the bodies that we pay taxes to? The union budget came around, and I'm not an economist. However, I have seen the general feedback that people have been giving about this on different social media platforms, on different write-ups. I've read some blog posts, watched some videos about it. It seems like one of those budgets where the middle class has been ignored again, and the taxes for long-term capital gains have increased, short-term capital gains have increased, taxes in general have increased for people earning more than 15 lakhs. As a country, don't we need to be a little bit more aspirational? Like, don't we want people to make more money? Do we want everybody to aspire to want to leave the country because the tax system is flawed? There's so many brackets and layers, and there is no incentive on making money. On some level, sometimes I feel like the government really wants you to be poor. Like they don't want you to thrive. Like they don't want you to become the next Warren Buffett. Don't invest your money in stock market. Silly. Give us 12% of your earnings in a sense. Who ends up making thousands of percents of returns? It was a very strange thing. The 4th of June is when the election results came out. And a few days before that, while the exit polls for the general elections were coming around, we heard the Home Minister and the Prime Minister talk about how the stock market will go up on the day of the election results. What was that about? No, what was that about? Like, why would the Home Minister of the country talk about stocks and how they'll go up or down because of the results of the election? And even the Prime Minister spoke about something like that, and we had one of the biggest market crashes on the day of the election. So the minister tells you to buy stocks because they will go up. The Prime Minister tells you should like think about the market going up on the day of the results of the election. And when the results come around, exit polls have said that yes, NDA is winning, BJP is winning. The BJP does not win, the NDA wins, but BJP does not win. The stock market crashes. All the people who listen to him and must have invested their hard-earned money into the stock market lost money. I wasn't one of them. I usually don't try and invest according to what other people tell me to invest in. My simple rule, I don't know if I'm not a very professional stock market investor. However, I feel whenever I go out and want to buy something, if it's cheaper, I'm more likely to buy it, and it has a better value if it's cheaper. A lot of us ask for discounts when we buy our vegetables from Thelas, and when we go out and ask for things that we want to buy. Maybe not in malls. Nobody really asks for discounts in malls. I really want to do that. Like I really feel like if we ask for a rebate on our prices from a Thela, we should ask the Zara cashier as well, just out of like respect and like a little bit of self-respect. But yeah, if the stocks are low, buy them. If the stocks are expensive, don't buy them. But what was that manipulation about is what my point is. We're being churned into this system of manipulation by some very powerful people, and I'm not particularly criticizing anyone in specifically that this is the reason that things are not working out, this person is the reason that things are not working out. A lot of times we like to pin the blame, say, on the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, the Chief Minister, the administrators, all of these people who are responsible for a lot of duties that directly affect us as citizens. However, what is happening is something that a citizen also needs to understand. I think if you can really read between the lines, have media literacy, understand what's happening around you, not just within the country but also outside the country. What are some of the trends that have not worked out for other countries? If you look at how inflation took over Argentina was one of the most opulent countries in the world. Once they accumulated so much debt into their economy and they were not able to make the payments, their prices went up. The US economy is going through an unemployment crisis at about 5% right now. We are a lot more unemployed as compared to the United States. However, the entire world is kind of going through a little bit of a situation. Russia, on the other hand, with all its sanctions, seems to be doing well. It's a war economy. Their GDP has gone up. India's imports from Russia have gone up significantly. Before the war with Ukraine, Russia was not a very big exporter to India with its crude oil. However, now we are importing so much crude oil from Russia and turning it into refinery products and selling it across the world. So the people who mean something to you today might not mean something to you tomorrow, and vice versa. There is so much turmoil that keeps happening in this world. However, this particular story of the 3 UPSC aspirants losing their lives in Delhi due to drowning was literally a watershed moment. No pun intended. Really scary, really mind-numbing. And I would love to know your thoughts about this, guys. Like, what do you think about this? Shouldn't the Aam Aadmi Party actually come out and give out a statement that saying that, hey, we made a mistake? This is what I expected from the Aam Aadmi Party actually. When I remember when India Against Corruption was happening close to 12 to 13 years back, and Kejriwal was with Anna Hazare, and then he subsequently started his own political party. There was this expectation that young people had from this political party that this is a different party. This is a party that talks about things openly. They address issues. They don't like to put the blame on other people and simply walk away. But this is what I've been noticing from this party of late. The leaders don't really seem to be answering the questions when it comes upon them. Like, by now we all understand that the Delhi government is not a fully autonomous government. They don't have all the powers in all the domains that they would like to have. And the central government has a lot of control over the Delhi government as well. The lieutenant governor, who also has a lot of powers, wherein they control the MCD, they control the functioning of the government. However, what about the promises? What about the change? What about moral responsibility? My statement goes directly to Mr. Arvind Kejriwal actually, and I really want to know, and I want to ask from you, sir, where are you? If you are in jail, I'm sorry to hear that. However, you chose to be a political person, you chose to start a political party that gave promise to the young, and it said, on some level, an unsaid rule about your party, I feel personally, was that you guys take responsibility if you're wrong as well. Nobody is expecting you to be perfect. Nobody is saying that you should do things in such a way that you can never be wrong. You might have die-hard followers who would actually respect you coming out and saying, hey, we did not clean the drains, we're sorry about that, and we'll make sure that this does not happen in the future. Even a little bit of a statement could actually make me as a person who had a lot of expectation from this political party to actually be like, yeah, maybe they are different. Something like this happens in a Congress run government, something like this happens in a BJP run government. I don't personally expect anything from these political parties because they're too big now. They're too big to change their setup. That entire thought in politics that if you concede to your defeat, you are weak. If you concede to your defeat, you are weak. I'll repeat myself because this is a thought that I feel needs to change from ground, from the very base of philosophy of Indian politics. Why do we want to hero-size our politicians to a point that we can't even expect them to be imperfect? When they do such difficult work that takes a lot of thought, takes a lot of planning, takes a lot of collaboration, coordination. They need to talk to different people. They need to talk to the administrators, the ground level people who are on the ground cleaning the sewers. Go speak to them. Be on the ground. Connect with people. Speak to them. Shake their hand. Why is that not happening? Why are we not expecting our politicians to be on the ground and actually ensure that the services that they are responsible for are delivered to the people? It does not happen because we have in this country a culture of deityism. We like to turn our leaders into deities. We like to turn them into gods that we worship, and we are cult-like followers into this entire gamut. There is not a lot of criticism that one is hearing about the Aam Aadmi Party with this entire fiasco. I might not have all the facts in front of me, but I do know that the MCD is ruled by the Aam Aadmi Party, and the least that this party could have done after this entire incident has happened is to put out a statement of apology, put out a statement of responsibility. We've had multiple cases in the country recently where we have not heard even a single apology from the higher ups. We have not heard an apology from the education minister when it comes to the paper leaks. There have been multiple paper leaks that happened. In fact, the story is insane because the National Testing Agency came out with the results on the day of the elections. On the day of the elections, they decide to declare the results when they were supposed to be declared 10 days after. But they decided to choose it with the news cycle of the election day. Turns out there were so many toppers. Turns out people from the same exam center have the same amount of marks. Lots of strange trends came out from the NEET UG paper leak incident. And that actually pointed to the fact that this entire paper was a scam. This entire paper was a scam. So many lakhs of young students that I personally know study so hard for this to make it to a good government college in the country so that they're able to become doctors. They're able to provide for their families. They're able to provide for themselves. Become doctors treat the people of this country, poor, rich, medium, everyone, a doctor. We compromise the doctors of this country. We compromise such an important institution by ensuring that the paper gets leaked, and then the testing agency comes out with the results on the day of the elections. Kinda seems like they knew about it. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in saying that? Anybody with a fair brain would want to say that no, the testing agency came out with the results 10 days before their scheduled date, just because they had the results. तो जिस दिन election हो रहा है उसी दिन results declare कर देते हैं, so that we don't have to sound accountable for the leak that has happened. Blatant grace marks were given to a lot of students to ensure that they get higher marks. Kids really struggle with this, man. I don't know if anybody listening to this has actually prepared for the NEET in the past, but this is an exam where people really like just smash their brains onto the desk, like they're just on it. Their parents invest so much money. They send them to different cities to kind of train. They send them to Delhi a lot as well, different cities across the country. They send them to reputable tuition centers so that they can get education, so that they can have a good chance at making it to a government college or something like that. But none of that happened because the entire paper was leaked. So the education minister has not really spoken about this at all in terms of an apology. In terms of coming out, you don't have to resign. I don't know why are people asked to resign. Maybe there is a logic to it that I don't understand. But the least that a minister can do is apologize, because they made a mistake, and a lot of people got affected because of it, because of your lack of overseeing of this very important exam that affects so many people, and it affects the entire country. I think it's a national security issue, because if your doctors are incompetent, then all the people in the country are also at risk of being operated by somebody incompetent, or being prescribed medicines by a doctor that doesn't know anything about doctor. Like, these are not people who are doctors. These are people who have paid to get into colleges and then figure it out. From the start, from day one, they are compromised. How are they going to become good doctors? The education minister should have come out with a statement of apology. Why are we not expecting apologies from our ministers? Why are we not expecting them to be people? Why are we not expecting them to make mistakes? You can make a mistake. It's okay. Everybody makes mistakes at work. I also make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But sometimes you have to be accountable for the mistakes you make. And if your job is so important as being, say, a minister, as being an administrator, take some accountability. Don't expect yourself to be perfect. Maybe that's a good approach. Why are we not expecting this from our people, from our leaders? We've had a situation recently in Bangladesh where thousands of students came out onto the streets to protest a reservation given by the government of Bangladesh to the freedom fighters and their children. The students felt like this is unfair, because once the freedom fighters have gotten the reservation, why should their grandchildren get reservation, especially if they don't need it? But the government decided to fight against the students and say, no, you guys are the traitors because you don't want to fight for the rights of the freedom fighters. What has happened now? Sheikh Hasina has fled the country because the thousands of students fled into her room and into her house and had to make her literally leave the country. Revolutions like these don't need to happen, but sometimes they do happen because people are just fed up with the sort of stance that grown-up politicians take for very important issues. Why are we not able to see things from a logical perspective? It is difficult when you have a situation where people become so stuck up and sure of the fact that whatever they do is right and whatever the other person is doing is wrong, so you better toe my line so that there is no issue in the future. But sometimes things can escalate to a point of no return. Sometimes it becomes difficult to keep up with your own word. So I just wanted to do this recording actually to get this off my chest. I'm thinking about these 3 children. I want to pull up their names. Actually, I want to understand who they are. One of them was from Kerala, one of them was from UP, and another student was there. And these students are no more because of this entire issue. And Yeah, this negligence by the Delhi government has not gone unseen by me at all. In fact, I really do feel responsible as a citizen, thinking that there might have been some promise in this government to kind of be different, be the kind of government that actually stands up for its citizens. It speaks up, and it is humane. It's a humane political party. It's a humane organization, but it's not. All of the people who might be sorry, I have a little bit of a cough. All of the people who might be a little bit left leaning, I would say, I won't even say left leaning, but people who support the Aam Aadmi Party have not really spoken up about the fact that they've been entirely quiet about this situation, and just makes me not like them at all. And I don't know if anybody is with me on this and how much of an effect does this have, but I think this entire incident that happened in Mukherjee Nagar with the kids drowning, I think it's just insane. So many people are responsible for this, so many people, and of course anybody is thinking about how difficult those last moments for these kids must have been. But my thought really goes to the fact that Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is entirely silent about this. He's a strong figure, man. He's a strong figure. You're the chief minister. You're the convener of a national party. Forget all of this stuff about you not having any power in the government. No one wants to hear that anymore because it's done to death. We all understand, sir. We have already voted you in thrice. We have given you the MCD as well, knowing that you don't have full power. All of that happened because we like you. Yes, that's all there is. Is there anybody who disagrees with me on that? I think the Aam Aadmi Party, everybody in the city knows that yes, they don't have power. They don't like the BJP. The BJP doesn't like them, so the BJP doesn't give them power. The LG takes care of all the functionality. Arvind Kejriwal is not really very significant when it comes to the execution. So here we have a government where the government itself doesn't have any power, but we still elect them. Why do we elect them? We elect them because we like them. We feel like these are nice people. They have good intentions, and they're humane enough to actually speak to the people like people, and not be like, no, we are always constantly going to be attacking the power, the political party that's in power currently, and be like, no, we are trying to remove dictatorship from this country, and that's all your focus. Where are the clean sewers? Where are the clean roads? Where is the clean water? Where is that sense of security that somebody is taking care of us? Because when an incident like this happens, it seems like there's nobody that's responsible, and only people who are responsible are the people who are no more. So this was just my few cents and my little bit of a rant on this entire incident. I know it's a few days late, and I know that I probably have not been speaking up about every issue that's happening in the world, but I really did want to speak up about this, and I hope that with this message, I hope it gets through to our Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and he speaks up. Speak up, man. What are you afraid of? Don't be like them. Don't be like the other political parties who have actually spent so many decades just losing their humane. Like they're not there anymore. They're just very powerful or big organizations that don't seem to connect with people anymore. They'll keep winning parties. In the next 5 years, Congress might win. Another 15 years, BJP might win. You might not never win. You might win. Who knows? But can't we have a change in this country where politicians are more like people and less like just people filled with so much tar that they can't move. Their feet are stuck in that tar, and they only shake their hands every time some person tries to throw them into jail or something like that. I really hope that we're not just left scratching our heads thinking about these things all the time. Oh, when is the next time a roof is going to collapse over my head in a government building? When is the next time that I'm going to hit the roads and some random person is just going to run over me while I'm walking on the pedestrian path? I'm just walking and now pothole is open. Now my feet are inside this pothole and I'm drowning and I'm dead. This is another story of a mother and a child dying from drowning. Another UPSC aspirant getting electrocuted by holding a steel gate. What is happening to our cities? Our cities suck. Does anybody disagree with me on that? Our cities fucking suck. They're so bad. The infrastructure is so broken. The air is bad. the pedestrian paths don't exist, the roads are full of potholes, it rains one time and the next thing we have is, bhujia of the roads. Like, what is happening? Where is all the money going? Where is all the tax money going? This is a question that I think even a previous generation has asked, and here we are asking the same questions again. But I hope that we are able to get to a better place. I hope our leaders are able to become more humane and actually hear the grievances of the public. And I would love to hear your thoughts on today's short video, today's little bit of a rant video. And I would love to hear about your thoughts on what is happening in the country, what is happening in the world, what would you like me to speak about. And I hope you liked today's video. Do consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you like it, do share it with someone you love or like. And if you don't, then do that even more. I hope you're not left scratching your head, and I hope you have a good day, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Nancoverse.